Test 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test.
I got a homesick heart, but a long ways left to go. I've been doing my part, but I ain't got much to show. So
Come on in, guys, and take a seat. We got an exciting night at youth group tonight.
it's all for you in my pursuit of happiness. Chasing that life, moving on, cause I had to prove there ain't no life worth doing what I did to you. So I'm asking you to show me some forgiveness. It's all for you.
Come on in and find a seat.
Come on in, guys. Come in and find a seat.
Come find a seat, guys.
I've been working all night, maybe you could help me to believe this song ain't nothing if the song can't set you free. So I'm asking you to show me some forgiveness. It's all for you in my pursuit of happiness.
Keep on coming. We have lots of room for you. Find your friends. Find your small group leader. Give someone a high five.
This is where it comes together. Hopefully sooner now than never. We're living on the run, but you're the one who still believes. I'm on the way, I'm on the way, I'm on the way up. I'm on the way, I'm on the way, I'm on the way up. Up from the ground, I know I've been down, but I'm making my way. I'm on the way, all because of you.
Come find a seat. There's still room up front.
So
What is up, guys? Happy Monday. Welcome to High School Youth Group. If you don't know who we are, my name is Brittany. I'm one of the ministry leads here on the youth team.
And I'm Luke, and I'm an intern here. Guys, we have worship tonight. Are you guys excited for that? Right, we got our own band playing for us tonight. And so if you guys want to head up to the front, you're more than welcome to, and just encourage these guys, and we're just going to worship the Lord and have some fun tonight, all right?
Yeah, it's going to be
Awesome.
good.
Let's go.
Okay.
Hey guys, who's excited to worship tonight? What? You guys can do better than that. Who's excited to worship with us tonight? Let's stand up. You guys can come to the front. You can stay in your seats, but we'd love for you to come up to the front with us, worship with us. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, and don't feel like you have to just stand around. This is worship to God. This is your gift to God. And you want it to be personalized by you.
Yeah. So have fun. Don't worry about what you sound like. We're all going to sing. We're going to have a great time. The words are going to be on the screen, and we want to hear you sing with us, all right?
When night has fallen and fear is coming, still you're calling me. Hey, when faith is lost and all hope exhausted, you will be my strength.
When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. I decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me, 'cause you won't give up on me. 'Cause your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, 'cause your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. Soul, echo in my soul. Soul.
Hey, in every season, you keep repeating promises to me. Yeah, now there's no stopping where you have started till it is complete.
When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. I decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me, 'cause you won't give up on me. 'Cause your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, 'cause your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. Soul, echo in my soul. Soul.
Mind says I'm not good enough. God, you're enough for me. I've decided I'm not giving up. You won't give up on me. You won't give up on me.
Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out, breaking out. Hey, come on! Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. 'Cause your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul.
You pulled me from darkness and clothed me in garments of praise. Jesus, forever, my song will be you. Hey,
I'm living in freedom. You've taken my burdens away. Jesus, forever, my song will be only for you. For the cross that you bore and the debt that you paid, for the victory you won over death and the grave. This is the reason I sing, for the hope that you give and the joy that you bring, for the promise that heaven is waiting for me. This is the reason I sing.
I will not be silenced. Oh, I'll testify of your grace. Jesus, forever, my song will be you, only for you.
For the cross that you bore and the debt that you gave, for the victory you won over death and the grave. This is the reason I sing, for the hope that you give and the joy that you bring, for the promise that heaven is waiting for me. This is the reason I sing. So good, you're so good, you're so good to me. Forever I'll say, you're so good to me. Hey, so good, you're so good, you're so good to me. Forever I'll say, you're so good to me. For the cross that you bore and the debt that you paid, for the victory you won over death and the grave. This is the reason I sing, for the hope that you give and the joy that you bring, for the promise that heaven is waiting for me. This is the reason I sing, for the hope that you bore and the debt that you paid, for the victory that won over death and the grave. This is the reason I sing, for the hope that you give and the joy that you bring, for the promise that heaven is waiting for me. This is the reason I sing. This is the reason I sing. This is the reason I sing.
Nicely done.
All right,
Yes.
guys, can we give it up for the team one more time? Woo! All right, gosh. Guys, thanks for
They
doing that. You
killed
guys
it.
rocked. Holy
Great
smokes.
job, team. That was super fun.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since we've had worship, so
That's
that was
right.
awesome. Guys, thank you for being here. Thanks for choosing to hang out with us tonight. We just have a couple of announcements for you before we go into the next thing. First thing is, if you are not already connected with us on social media, we would love for you to do so. So pull out your phones. If you're not already following us on Instagram, we are Real Life Youth 9.10_PF, and we also have a TikTok account and a text blast that we'd love for you to text into. That just gives you helpful information about different things that are happening around here. We send out weekly text messages and different updates about literally everything.
Everything, yeah. And guys, we have an event coming up. If you were following our text blast, you would know, or if you've been around for a while.
Yes.
Guys, we have summer camp coming up soon.
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 Very soon.
Guys, it's what
So soon.
We're like 3 weeks away. No, we're like 6 weeks away.
3?
Sorry,
Luke,
sorry.
you're gonna give me a
I'm
heart
excited for
attack.
summer camp, guys, and so we hope you're there. Guys, we have your free T-shirts. I know we were advertising that for if you signed up for the first night of the first day of summer
Yep.
camp sign up. We have your T-shirt for us, so come find us in the lobby and we'll get you your free T-shirt. And guys, still
Yeah.
sign up for summer camp.
Yeah, we still have lots of space for you guys to sign up. If you are going into the 11th grade, then you're going to be going to 11th and 12th grade camp, which is super exciting. And then if you're going into either 9th or 10th grade, then you get to come hang out with us.
Still gonna hang out with us. You're not getting rid of us that easy.
Not
But guys,
that easy.
it's a blast. Guys, summer camp is the highlight of my summer because A, I'm not working, and B, I'm just hanging out with you guys, playing in the sun, having a good time at summer camp. It's a blast.
It is a blast. So sign up if you haven't, and if you have any questions, just come and talk to us, and we would love to help give you some answers. Another thing that we have late night every single Monday, which is exciting. That is each week from 8:30 to 9:15. So after you guys are done with small groups, we just like to have an extra time to hang out with you and eat good food. So
Free
tonight,
food.
what do we have
It's
tonight?
the best food. Guys, we got pancakes. Who loves breakfast for dinner? Because that's one of my
I feel
favorite
like
things. I grew
it
up
tastes
eating.
better.
Yeah, exactly. Pancakes and eggs for
yes.
dinner. It was always the
Yeah.
best.
So we're going to have some yummy pancakes tonight. And then next week, it looks like we're having tater tots, which is so exciting
Tater
to
tots
me.
are phenomenal as
Yeah.
well.
This is going to be good.
Yeah. And guys, with that, where are my 10th graders at? I know we've been talking about the move-up night for a little bit, and we've got my buddy Spencer here tonight. He's over from the other building, and he just wants to connect with you. You guys can cheer for him. It's okay. It's Spencer. He's a legit dude. So he wants to connect with you guys and talk to you guys about the move-up happening in a few weeks.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, as Luke said, yes, for you guys who don't know me, my name is Spencer, and I just wanted to come over here and personally invite you to our move-up on June 6th. It's going to be so fun, and we're so excited to have you. We're going to be having some cake. We're going to be barbecuing, and it's just going to be a great time. So for all you 10th graders, I can't wait to see you over there. Invite a friend, and we are, going to see you June 6th. So, yeah.
It's going to be fun. Guys, Spence is cool. Gosh, I'm trying to think of just some nice things I can say about you. Seriously, the 11th and 12th grade building is awesome. Our building is awesome. But if you are going into 11th grade, you're going to love being over there hanging out with Spence and Aura and just all the other lead team. So that's coming up June 6th.
June
Literally
6th.
just a
Can't
couple
wait.
weeks away. So not next week. Next week is Memorial Day, which we still have youth group, which is exciting. But the week after that, you get to go hang with Spence if you're a 10th grader. Super cool.
Yes. I don't know who all you 10th graders are, but come introduce yourself to me June 6th.
Yes.
So I'm going to pray for Gunnar now, and he's going to come out and be doing his thing. So let's pray for him. Father God, Lord, just thanks for who you are. Lord, thanks that we just get to be here with you and each other. God, I just pray for Gunnar now, and that you can just encourage him and help us to be encouraged by what he has to say, open our hearts and our ears to receive what you have. So we love you, and we ask these things in your name. Amen.
Welcome, everybody. How's it going? Hey, guys, I'm super excited to be sharing with you guys tonight. My name is Gunnar Green. If you don't know me, I'm the 9th grade lead team personnel. So if you're in 9th grade, I've probably stopped by your room to make sure everything's good to go, and maybe even led with some of you guys every now and then. So excited to be up here. This is not my typical position while I'm here, but I'm super excited to be able to share just a little bit of my story, a little bit what I went through in high school, and kind of get some of that. So at least you'll know, if you ever wondered to yourself, why is that guy like that? This will probably help explain some of my some of that. So I grew up with a pretty normal background for the most part. Oh wait, hold on. I got to address the neck real quick to this side. So everybody's been asking me what happened? Oh my gosh, what did Zoe do? And it wasn't her. It was all my fault. I was running after a soccer ball, and I didn't see that there was a rope stretched across these two poles, and so I was just taking off for it, and it caught me right in the neck, and I didn't even see it until I was laying on the ground seeing it bounce around. And so my feet came up above my head, and it was ugly, but it's all good. It didn't mess up my voice, so that's good. That was yesterday. But I really wanted to get into this and just start off by saying I grew up in a pretty normal Christian environment. I had 2 Christian parents, and I had 5 siblings. So that was kind of the one, the first odd thing, I guess, is I had 5 sisters. So I had 4 older sisters, 1 younger sister, and people always ask me, oh man, what was that like? And I never really knew how to describe that because I was so used to it. It's does a goldfish know what it's like to be wet? I don't know. Until eventually one of my sisters finally asked me, Gunnar, what was your experience like growing up with 5 sisters? And I was like, well, and I went to answer, and then she cut me off and finished what she was saying and never actually let me answer. And I was like, that's it. That's what it was like. I was like, man, you finally gave me, like, I don't know how to turn that into words, but I was like, you just perfectly illustrated what that was like. So that was great. But yeah, I say normal Christian family. There were some things about our family wasn't totally normal. My dad had 2 businesses, one of which was a reptile business. So he would breed and also do shows of like reptiles. And so I remember like one time when I was like 6 and a half, we were getting ready for church in the morning. My dad had a show later that day. And so I need to go ask him a question when we were in. So he was getting the alligator out of the tank. We had 6 alligators at one time. So he was getting one out of the tank and to bring it to one of his shows. And as he reached into the tank to grab it, I didn't know he was doing this, but I just opened up the door and I said, "Hey, Dad." And he just looked at me just long enough where he wasn't paying attention to what he was doing, and the alligator just leaps up all the way out of the tank and grabs him right in the forearm. And I mean, there's just blood flowing off his arm. And I'm like 6 years old, like, I'll go get Mom. And so I take off running, and he's like standing there like, oh my gosh, holding it still. And I finally like run off, and I'm gone for a minute trying to find my mom wherever she was at. And my sister right above me comes in, and she just starts weeping on the floor. I mean, she's just like freaking out. My other sister screams from the other room. She's like, I'm not even going back there. And finally my mom comes in, and she sees my dad. She's like, you're bleeding all over the carpet. And he's like, oh, okay. So he held it over the tank and finally let go. And we got it all patched out. He didn't bother going to the hospital because he's like, we'll be fine. So, and he was good to go. But that was like a little bit of my normal upbringing. We figured this sermon was called the True Story. So I was like, I'm going to start off with something that just a little bit out of the box. But yeah, so I had a nice normal upbringing. I had great parents. I had a great family. And I went to a really great church growing up. It was awesome. I had a lot of great friends there. And over time, our experience at that church just started to change a little bit. There's some big changes, and we just decided it was time to find something new. And so right at between the summer of my 8th and 9th grade year, we decided to switch churches to a new place, which was great. It was a total blessing in disguise. It wasn't something I really wanted to do at the time, but it was awesome. I didn't know exactly how much it was going to change my life when we made that switch, but it totally did. It changed the entire trajectory of my life, and I just learned a lot of stuff there that I don't think I would have ever realized had I continued in the path that I was going. But yeah, one of the biggest changes when I first started going there, I was pretty aware, like, okay, I need to make some new friends. Like, I need somebody out there who gets me, understands me, and who I can hang out with. And so the first maybe month I was there, there was a guy. We weren't a small group based church, so that wasn't something that was that we did every weekend for our small groups at all. But there was one guy who was kind of starting to become, he just graduated, and he wanted to kind of give back to some of the freshmen, and so he decided to start a small group on Monday nights at a coffee shop. And so he started doing that. It was run a little bit differently than how we had it, but it was great. And I mean, it wasn't really what I was expected. I didn't know I was looking for community at the time, but I definitely was. And the first week I showed up, he was there, and there was one kid who sat there who never talked. I actually, to this day, don't know what his voice sounded like because he just didn't say anything. The other guy, I was hoping to be a little bit more normal, somebody I could build a friendship with. He was a contortionist, so he was like triple jointed, so he could like bend his arms all up behind his back, and like he'd be sitting there like while he was talking, like with his arms like behind him, and we'd just be like, okay, man. He dressed like the Mad Hatter. So he wore like the full-on hat. He had like the card, which I don't remember what the fraction is in his hat, but it's like 12/52 or something. He like got this hat on, and he would show up like that every single week. And so the first week we were there, it was odd. I'll give you that. It was odd. But the cool thing is that we were consistent, and the leader that we had, he was really awesome. His name was Isaiah, and I actually knew him previously, which I didn't realize till maybe a year or so into it, but he was actually in my neighborhood, kind of down the street a little ways from me growing up, and he would smoke weed with my neighbors that were like really odd, like on the fritz. And so I actually knew him as like this kind of not so great guy that kind of lived down the road, and anytime he was out there, my parents were like, yeah, let's come inside. Years later, he ended up being my small group leader, which was really crazy because he had a huge life change, and that's his story. But yeah, so yeah, just talking about community, it was such a cool thing because it was not what I was expecting. When I showed up there, I was expecting it to be kind of solidified already. I was expecting to be people that looked like me, people that talked like me, people that acted like me, and that was not the case. And it's probably not what I would have picked at the time. If I had my choice, it would have been people who I felt like I related a lot with more. Unfortunately, that was not what it was. And it took a lot of effort. In order to build that community, in order to build that relationship with those guys, it took a lot of effort, especially the ones that I just would never, necessarily be best friends with, people that, we were just really different. There was only one small group for 9th grade guys, so it was like, that was it, and it was awesome. And over the years, the people changed. We had a lot more people end up showing up. We ended up usually having like 8 to 12 guys there in a week, and it was awesome. And I don't think at the time I could have put like the words to it to know how impactful it was. But I think one of the main reasons that I didn't really know how impactful it was is just because I didn't necessarily have anything going on in my life crazy enough where I was like, man, it'd be nice to have some people around. Everybody goes through stuff, and at the time my life was just really comfortable and easy. And I sometimes look at community as kind of like a fail-safe, where if you could go through your whole life, if I could have gone through my whole life and never needed community, never needed anybody around, if life was so easy where I could have just skated through and done it all by myself, that would have been great. But unfortunately for probably most people in this room, and especially for me, that just wasn't how the story ended. And once I realized that I did need community, it would have been so much harder at that point to try and build it. I was so glad that I put in that effort on the front end to build community, so I wasn't trying to make up for it on the back end, because the reality of things is just that life is hard. And whether it's a whole bunch of little things that come up in your life over the next 80 years you're around, or if it's really major things that are huge catastrophes, both of those are probably going to come up. I don't know anybody who made it to their old age and was just like, man, that was a breeze. That was so easy. Like, let's do it again. Most people are glad to be through most of that stuff as they age there. And a lot of people go through really hard things. And like I said, at that point, my life was pretty easy. Going into sophomore year, I really hadn't had too many struggles in my life. The one battle that I had going on for a few years at that time was an addiction to pornography, which I might get into here in a little bit. But as far as just life circumstances and chaos of life, life was really tame. But all that changed one day when I came home. I don't remember exactly how it all went down, but me and my siblings came home from some event, and my parents said, hey, you guys, why don't you guys come down stairs? We got to have kind of a family meeting. And we were like, okay, sure, no problem, which wasn't totally irregular for my family to do every couple months. And this time it just seemed a little bit different, and we all sat down around my mom and my dad, and they were standing there looking at us, and they were like already kind of wrecks, and we're all kind of like, what's going on? And they proceeded to let me know, and my siblings know, that my mom had breast cancer, that she had just been diagnosed, and that they were not really sure what that meant yet. They weren't really sure how the treatments were going to go or what was going to happen, but they were like, we just want to let you guys know that this is what we're dealing with. And that was the first time in my life where it was like suddenly things were not inside my control. And it wasn't something I necessarily we didn't necessarily start bringing up to everybody right away, but I still had a really awesome community of guys around me even at that point, who once we started to let people know what was going on, they were just super encouraging. And let's be fair, we were like 14-year-old guys, so it's not like they all knew what to say. It's not like they were all like prime people to talk through life things with, but it was somebody around me who could just sympathize with the fact that sometimes life's hard and sometimes things suck. And sometimes even later I'd talk to them and they'd just be like, hey, like, do you want to talk about stuff? And I'd be like, let's just talk like things are normal. Let's just pretend things are normal for a little bit. And they were totally cool to do that. And that was so beneficial. And so she got diagnosed with breast cancer there in about probably my sophomore year. And the next year and a half or so, things were pretty much normal around our house. There was no real development. It wasn't really progressing. It wasn't really regressing. It was just kind of stagnant. She had gone through a whole bunch of treatments. She had gone down to Reno, Nevada for extra treatments. And the whole time my family was really close through all of it. It was really tight. It was a really encouraging time. We had a lot of people who came around us and were just super kind and beneficial, and that was awesome. I wouldn't have traded that for anything. But eventually, toward the end of my junior year, she just started to go downhill a little bit. And we started to realize the signs of like, man, mom isn't doing so good. And I remember there was one time when I was, my parents had two businesses, like I said, and she was trying to like compare and contrast some stuff in one of her businesses. And I was like trying to help her with some of it, 'cause she was just asking me questions that were like, these questions just don't make sense. I was like, this this isn't right. And so I was sitting down with her on paper, like trying to figure out some of these issues, and I was like, Mom, no, like this one means this and this one means this. And she's like, oh yeah. And that's when I was kind of like, that was my first kind of reality check of like, okay, like everything's not fine. Like everything, like this is getting worse. This is getting harder. And so over the next couple months as summer approached, my parents started having a few more conversations with us kids like, hey, look, like things are getting worse. And eventually, probably about June or so, my family kind of gathered us around and said, hey, look, this is basically in God's hands now. So like we've talked to the doctors, we've got to the appointments, like if anything is going to change from this point going forward, it's going to be in God's hands. He's going to be the one who makes that transition. And so we were praying for that, and we were really hopeful for that, and we definitely believed that was going to be the outcome. And for the remainder of the summer, we were praying for that, and it was kind of toward the end of July at this point. Me and my dad were talking one day, and he was, me and my sister were signed up to go to camp. It would have been my last year. It would have been like my junior summer going to camp. And so I was talking to my dad, like, hey, Dad, are we still going to camp, or is that something we should plan on not doing? I was like, if we need to not go, like, just let me know, and like we can figure it out. And he's like, no, let me talk to your mom. We'll figure it out. So I said, okay. And so he came back to me a couple days later. He said, look, I mean, there's nothing you guys can do here. Nothing's really changing with your mom right now. Why don't you and your sister plan to go to camp? If anything changes, we'll let you know. It's really okay. So that's what happened. That's what we did. And so we left for camp a few weeks later there. And when we left, everything was pretty much as it was before. She definitely continued to go on downhill at that point, but still very cognizant and could answer your questions and everything like that. And we had an amazing week at camp. I mean, I think that was actually one of the biggest blessings was doing that, because it got our minds off of everything for a little bit, and that camp was just one of the most incredible experiences of my life. I still have stories from that camp that are part of other parts of my testimony that were just absolutely incredible, and that really changed entire dynamics of my life and my faith, and that was an incredible experience. So if you're not to camp yet, do it. Shameless plug. But yeah, so we were at camp, and we made it through the entirety of camp, and we started heading on back for here. I lived in Seattle at the time, and so we actually went to a medical aid camp, which is right just near the airport here. And so we were heading back, and we're all on the bus heading back, and all of a sudden we pulled in at like Ellensburg or whatever. We were only like an hour outside of camp, and we were already like stopping for lunch, and all of us on the bus like, what's going on? I mean, it's like 11 o'clock. Why are we stopping for lunch already? And like, all right, everybody, just stay seated in the bus for a minute. And we're like, okay. And then they're like, Gunnar and Sophia, we need you guys to come to the front. And I was thinking, what did I do? Like, I haven't done anything. Like, man, like what they catch me doing? I was like, man, I don't know what's going on. So I went to the front, and I was all nervous. Like, what's going on? They're like, hey, we need to talk to you outside of the bus. And I was like, gee, how serious was this? I mean, I was kind of like worried about it at first. And I get off the bus, and like, hey, we just want to let you know that we're putting you and your sister on a different bus to go home, because we're pretty sure that if you don't go on that van ride home, you're not going to see your mom when you get back. And I was like, oh, man. And so we had a short conversation there of figuring out the logistics of that. And so we went ahead and jumped in a different vehicle, and we started taking off for home. And yeah, that was an interesting drive on back. That was a rough drive to make it back in time. And so we ended up making it back at about 6 p.m. And we were able to talk to her mom one last time before she ended up passing 4 hours later. And man, that was a moment in time that you don't get through very easily. And I actually have a verse that I'm going to throw on the screen, I believe there. It'd be Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12. 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. And it was in this moment where I didn't realize how important it was, the work I had already put into community prior to this moment in time. Like I said, prior to this moment, life had been pretty easy. Life had not given me a whole lot of things to deal with. And even at that point, up until then, it would have been pretty easy to get through life mostly alone. With maybe one friend that was cool with me, I would have been fine with that. But I didn't realize the amount of effort that would have been needed to make up those relationships at that point. So I couldn't have been more grateful for the relationships that I had already built in the previous 3 years with this new group of people who, like I said, I did not feel like I fit in with that group. The first week I was there, that small group was not something that I would have picked. It wasn't something that I really wanted all the time. But I decided, years before to be consistent to it. I decided years before to be vulnerable in it. And I think the small groups that are run here run so much better than the one we had. We had no idea what we were doing. But we still had a community of people that I was with every single week that I knew their stuff going on in their life. They knew the stuff that was going on in my life. And I think of just like these moments that I'll never forget of relationships that were built so prior to things going so south. I remember there was a guy in the group. Him and I didn't have a lot of common. We didn't hang out all that much at that point. And we had been in the group for a while. I personally really didn't like the guy. He was significantly younger than me. And we were in the same group for years. And we had built a relationship in that group that, to be honest, I wouldn't have ever even taken outside that group if it was up to me. I never would have hung out with the guy. But there was this moment where we decided the day after my mom passed, I think she passed on a Saturday, or Friday night. We decided that Sunday, we were like, my whole family's talking the Saturday before, like, are we going to go to church tomorrow, or are we just going to skip, or what are we going to do? Because, we were just kind of figuring it out. And we kind of came to this collective decision that we were going to go, and it was going to be kind of awkward, and it was going to be hard. And we even called our pastor before we showed up, like, hey, we just want to let you know that we're going to be there, so, like, just in case people are, we just wanted to give him a heads up so he wasn't shocked when he saw us. And we showed up to that church, and I'll never forget when I opened up those glass door on the far side of the building, my friend was working in the coffee bar back there. This is a little tiny place, and I remember I hadn't told any of my friends that I was going to be there. And like I said, I was not necessarily friends with this guy, and we really weren't that close before this moment. And he sees me, and he's making this coffee, and I make eye contact with him, and the coffee is on the floor, and whatever he was doing is just thrown off to the side. He came running out of the little room there and came up and gave me, the biggest hug I've ever gotten from somebody. If any of you guys know Austin Mayo, he's kind of built like him, so significantly smaller than this guy. And he gave me like the biggest hug I've ever had in my life. And I just remember thinking at that moment, like, man, I'm so glad that I put in all this effort in the past 3 years to build a relationship with those people that I wouldn't even necessarily hang out with outside of this group. But inside this group, we have this bond that was just so impactful, even when moments then, there was plenty of weeks where it was not impactful. There was plenty of weeks where we showed up and none of us got anything out of it. And to be honest, he kind of gave like these sermons at the beginning of it, and then we'd kind of talk. There's probably 2 talks that I remember him giving out of, 50 weeks a year over 4 years. So do the math. It wasn't like every day that we went there was so impactful. But I think I realized just early enough that I had a responsibility to build that community when I didn't necessarily need it. Because then when I did need it, it was there for me, and it was ready, and it was waiting. And I was just had some thoughts about that. Because what I want you to know is that your responsibility now is to build those relationships. I don't know. I'm sure that there's some people in this room who have gone through things that would dwarf the experience that I've had. And I'm sure there's some people in this room who have gone through things that I will not understand and that I could not even begin to imagine the things that some people have gone through. I've heard stories of friends of mine who make my problems look very small. But I do know what it's like to be in pain. And I do know that if you don't choose to build your relationships now, if you don't choose to put in the time and effort now, it's going to be a lot more painful when you need those relationships and they're just not there. And our small group definitely changed over the years. We ended up changing leaders, and we ended up changing a whole bunch of different people in and throughout it. And the people that was there the first week with me were not there by the end. But we just continued to build those relationships with the people who were there, because that was all we had. So one of the things I wanted to touch on was just the consistency. I was thinking back to the time that we spent in that small group, and some people were more consistent than others. Some people showed up once every 6 months. Some people were there every week. And I was trying to think of all the things that I did that caused me to miss a week, and I was like, I was trying to think of anything that I scheduled in the way of that really got in the way of missing. And I can only remember one season of football where we had a practice that ended like the same time as it started, so I was like 30 minutes late. But besides that, I was like, I think I was pretty much there unless something was like off for pretty much every week for 3.5 years at that point. And that was just incredibly beneficial, just the consistency of being there over and over and over again. I guess what I wouldn't want to see is I think that if you choose not to build a relationship, if you choose to come, and this is totally your choice, to come every week and to check out, and to come every week and not put in the effort, because you could be here every week for 4 years and you could choose to create no friendships, and you could choose to create no bonds with people here, and you could choose to pretty much check out every time. And there's definitely weeks where I checked out and was not really present there, even though I might have been sitting in that chair. But I think the difference is if you don't choose to build that now, I'm just wondering what you're going to give up later. That'll be something that you just cannot get back when you need it. And I don't know what your situation is. And like I said earlier, I'm sure there's some of you who've been through things that I just couldn't even fathom. And like I said, I mean, I had a pretty easy childhood from 0 to 16, 17. And I know that's not everybody's story. But I do promise you one thing, and that's that I do understand pain, and I do understand what going through pain looks like. I know what going through pain feels like. I've walked with people through pain. I've walked through pain. And I just wonder, in those moments when you're choosing to check out repeatedly over and over and over again, and you choose not to put in the effort now, and you choose not to build community where you're at, I'm just wondering how much you're giving up down the road. And I think, I mean, there's a lot of really amazing things that came out of that situation. Not that I would have traded any of the great things that came out for what I had to go through. I would definitely take my mom back in a heartbeat if that was the option. But I did gain a lot of insight during that time. And I think one thing that's really cool is now I'm in a position here where I help build community, and I help build community for people who are right in the age bracket where I needed it the most, and right in the age bracket where I didn't even know really why I was doing it. I definitely didn't know when I was in 9th and 10th grade. I did not know that I was going to need people around me like I did. That was not something that came into my mind. I never once considered going through something that painful. I never once considered losing somebody that close to me. I hope people aren't sitting there wondering that. But the reality is that we all go through some really painful stuff. Yeah, so I mean, that's why I'm here every Monday. I know there's a lot of people in this room who are here every Monday who are not students. A lot of people here who are leaders who show up every Monday, and they all have really compelling reasons to be here. They're not just here because they had nothing to do on a Monday and were really bored. They're here because they want to sow into you. They want to be here for you. And they don't give up every single Monday of their year to just come and eat the free ice cream or whatever it is. So that's why I lead a small group at Young Adults, is because even continuing my story, I ended up losing a lot of community. After high school, I didn't really transition into our Young Adults programs at our church there, and I totally lost that community. And that was it was more devastating than I realized. I didn't know how important that was going to be, but I definitely can look back now and see the result of what that did to me. And it was not pretty, and it was not helpful, and I've spent years having to recover from some of those situations I was in after that. That's why I'm in a life group still. I'm now 24. Most of you probably think that's old. It's definitely not. But I still need community. I mean, I'm still in a life group. We meet every single Tuesday, and I'm there because I need it. Because I need people there who can sit with me when things suck, who can call me out when I'm doing things that are stupid. And if I don't have that, then I just don't know where I'd be. I mean, that verse that I mentioned earlier, a 3-braided cord is not easily broken. It's really easy to break a cord with one rope. Like the one that hit my neck was thousands, and that's probably why it didn't break when I hit it. But I had some questions to just kind of pose to you, and just some things for you guys to just kind of mull over and think about as you guys go into small groups and all that. And the first one be, are you willing to risk investing nothing into your small group? And really what I mean by that is, in the world of investing in business, there's always risk to investing, but there's also a risk in not investing. And if you only have so much time in your week to build connections with people, and you happen to be sitting in a room every single week for a full hour, or well, 45 minutes, to connect with a handful of other people who are probably going through similar things. Not all of you are going through the same stuff. There's probably people in your small group that you don't like. There's probably people in your small group that you don't get along with, and that's totally fine. But are you willing to risk putting nothing into your small group? Because I've found that if you're willing to put nothing into it, you're probably going to get nothing out of it. And I'm just wondering, when you do end up needing that community, when you do need those people around you, what's that going to look like? Second question was, what are you most worried about if you do invest in your community? If you do put in the time into your community, I mean, I wonder what is the fear behind not doing it? Is it vulnerability? Is it the fear that other people are going to judge you? Is it the fear that other people are not going to understand what you're going through? I would say those are totally valid fears, because there are judgmental people out there, and there are people out there who will not understand you and will not understand what you're going through. And that is just the reality of life on planet Earth. And you probably won't understand everybody else that's in your small group. That's why we offer people grace, because without that, you're going to be very alone in that situation. But I think what's really cool is you guys have so much left in even your high school experience. You guys have so many years left, even just in this experience alone, that, I mean, the people who are the oldest in here, you still have like almost 3 years left of being in high school groups, and probably a very similar group to what you have now will be what you graduate with, and I think that's totally awesome. You can build those connections for such a long time, and if they do change, that's totally cool. The very final year of my small group that we had, the leader ended up transitioning into being our junior high pastor, so he was no longer the leader. We ended up having 2 of his friends come and do it. So we changed leaders. About half the students changed. By that point, there was like all 4 grades in our small group. And we went through totally different stuff than what we were going through with Isaiah. I mean, the whole dynamic of the small group changed. The 2 guys were basically just doing it to get to the end of the year, because that's how long Isaiah asked them to do it for. He's like, hey, can you guys leave my small group to the end of the year? And then if you guys want to keep doing it, great. But if not, like, you can call it good then. If you're like, okay, we need to do something for like 15 weeks or whatever it was. And so they chose this purity course for the 12 of us guys that were meeting at the time. And they were like, you know what, guys, we're just gonna spend the rest of the time just talking about purity and what that looks like as the life of a single high schooler or a dating high schooler. And so we went through that course, and I mean, that was awesome. That was one of the more impactful things that happened to that small group, and that was something that just came out of being willing to invest even when there was big changes, because there probably will be big changes in your guys' communities over the next 3 years. If you're here for that long, we hope you are, but more than likely there's going to be people that come in, people that come out, and probably leadership changes as well. I was reflecting on Psalms 1, and it says, be like a tree planted by streams of water. And the whole point of a tree planted by streams of water is that its roots go really, really deep, and they're able to get all the nutrients they need, and they're able to flourish and grow into the tree they're supposed to be. The alternative to that is trees planted in rocky places. They don't last very well. I was doing work about a year ago up at my father-in-law's house, and we were working on one side of his property, and then it was pretty windy outside, as Idaho gets, and there was just this noise behind us of this tree just coming and crashing down. And the tree was pretty good size. It was probably 120 feet tall and like probably 2.5, 3 feet around. The tree was massive. And it totally collapsed right next to us, and we were like, okay, we're done for the day. But after the wind was done, we went up and checked out like where it had come down. And I mean, if you look down at the root system of this tree, it only went down about like 4 feet and out about like 8 kind of, and then it just stopped because it was just in this big like rock bowl. And I just wonder, like, if you're not putting in that time and effort to grow the roots into the community that you're in, if you're in your small group but you're not willing to invest, you're not willing to grow from it, you're kind of shy and hesitant about letting other people in and being vulnerable, if you're not letting your roots break through that rock and start to dig into the actual soil down underneath that's going to hold you, it really doesn't matter how big you get. When that wind hits, it's coming down. And more than likely, we're all going to be faced with some major winds in our life. Not winds, big major winds, some serious waves and some turmoil that are going to threaten what you've built. And I hope that at that point you have some roots that go really down So when there is that time when you're like, I need somebody to call now, you have somebody's number. And when that person doesn't answer, you have somebody else. And I think here's one thing that's really neat about this is that even if you are not saved in here, and maybe if you're in here, you've been following Jesus since you took your first breath, that's awesome. Maybe you are making that decision right now in your life and you're figuring that out, and maybe you're really not even sure where you fall on that spectrum. You're like, yeah, maybe he's out there, maybe he's not, how would I really know? I don't know where you're at on that spectrum of figuring out who Jesus is in your life and how you're going to go about responding to that. But the cool thing is that whether you're willing to realize that you need him, whether you're really willing to realize that yet in your life or not, community is for you either way. Even if it's something that's scary for you, even if you come here because your parents make you, which could still very well be a possibility. If you come here just because there's that one person, that one girl that's here that you hang out with, that one boy here that you hang out with, if there's just, it could be any number of reasons that you show up. And even if it's not to build your relationship with Jesus Christ while you're here, community is still for you, and you're still going to need it. You're still going to wish you had it when you're going through those hard things. And I can guarantee you of one thing is that life is not always going to be easy. It's probably going to blindside you at times. You may not always be ready to respond to it. But if you have people around you who are willing to help you back up, it doesn't really matter how many times you fall down because you'll have those people at your back and by your side. So I'm just really excited for you guys because, yeah, like I said, no matter what stage of life you're at right now and where you're at with Jesus and where you're at with serving him, this is completely for you, and this is completely something that you can tap into. And that's something you can be even super honest about in your group of where you're at with that. Maybe some of you are even scared to even share where you fall on that spectrum of following or not following Jesus, and that's totally okay. I'd say that for a long time in our group, there's probably half the people in it that really had no relationship with Jesus at all. And that was totally okay. We love those guys, and they were awesome. And some of them decided to follow Jesus. Some of them did not. And either way, we still love them. We still hung out with them anytime they were there. But I'm really excited for you guys. I think you guys have just done an incredible job with the groups that I've sat in. Some of you guys have just been incredibly vulnerable, incredibly open about where you're at, the things you're dealing with. And I'm just really excited with you guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up and pray, and then we are going to have the band come out and do one more song. So, dear God, thank you so much for the opportunity that you've given me to just share a portion of my testimony with these people, God. And I just pray that, God, as all these kids are going through so much of life in this stage and so many changes with their family, so many changes with their schooling, so many changes personally in their life. And God, I just pray that you would help them to see that there's people around them who are experiencing similar difficult things. Maybe not the same difficult things, but pain is just about everywhere you look. And everyone's going through their own pain. Everybody's going through their own battles and their own struggles. And if we can be there to support one another, I just pray that you give us the eyes to see one another as hurting, and the eyes to see one another as going through struggles, that nobody in here has it all together. Nobody in here has all the answers. But you do, God, and you give us a lot of those answers through community and through the people who can come alongside us and help us out when we fall down, that can get us back up when we cannot pull ourselves up. And so, God, I just pray that you just be working these students' lives as they go back into their small groups, as they just start to unpack some of this. That you just give them eyes to see their friends in a way they haven't before, that you give them eyes to see themselves in a way they haven't, and that they just have a heart to be vulnerable, honest, and open about where they're at and what they're dealing with personally, God. I pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
So good. We want to invite you guys to stand up with us again. We're going to sing one more song. If you want to come to the front again, you can come to the front. If you want to stay where you are, you can. We're going to sing this song together. We're so excited to worship with you guys at the end of the year. So just engage, be present in this moment. You know, Jesus is a good shepherd, and he would leave 99 sheep just for one who was lost and alone and afraid. He does the same thing for us. And that's what this song is talking about.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. For I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. And all the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. And all the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. Yeah. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. fight till I'm found. Leaves the 99, and I couldn't earn it. I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
Sweet.
I love that.
Sweet. Guys, that was so cool. Gosh, I love that. I absolutely love that. Hey, guys, we're just going to take a moment to celebrate a few people, a few of the school ministry people. So if I got to have Kevin, Asa, and Mackenzie come up on stage.
Yes.
This instant, wherever you guys are at.
Come in. We got one.
We got one, Kevin. And the other two. Here we go. Sweet. So for those who don't know, school ministry is a process for young adults to go through to really deepen the relationship with the Lord, grow and develop as people and their leadership skills. And so all three of these people just finished either their first or just the first year. Okay, sweet.
Yes.
So they all just finished their first year of school ministry, which is, yeah, you can clap for that.
It is no small task.
It's not a small task. You guys know it's like hundreds of hours of reading, serving like at the high school youth group and hanging out with you guys and going to class time and answering tough questions and doing difficult things. So it's a lot of work. And so we're super proud of you guys. And we just want to take some time to honor you and celebrate all three of you tonight.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to start us off. You guys know Mackenzie? Yes. Yes. Yeah, so Mackenzie, all of them up here, they're wrapping up their first year. I just want to say how proud I am of you. Mackenzie, I've gotten the privilege and the honor to have her kind of, one, she's a small group leader. I know her ladies are out here somewhere. So I've just been given the privilege to kind of work with her and to encourage her to grow as a leader. We have gotten to spend time together every other week. And she has come early every single Monday to prep for youth group and to just be here. And so I've gotten to spend a lot of time with her, which has been so fun for me. So Mackenzie, I am so proud of you. I am honored to do ministry with you. It has been just such a gift to see you grow and just to see you just really like be present in all that God's doing in your life, because I know he's taken you on a few twists and turns. I'm super proud of you for just how committed you are. When I think of you, I think of just commitment. Like that's the word that comes to my mind, because you're so dedicated to the things that you choose to do, and you're all in. And something that I just want to share is that when I first met Mackenzie, she told me that she wanted to jump into ministry and she was passionate about it and that she wanted to do ministry. And people tell me that all the time, but hearing it from her, I knew that it was legit. And then just getting to know her and spend time with her, she is legit, and God has done so much in her. I'm super proud of her. I'm proud of you. I love you. I'm just thankful that I've gotten to do so much ministry with you. Good job. Thank you for being committed. Thank you for being part of this process. You're amazing. Let me give you a hug. This is for you. Congratulations. Give her a round of applause.
Sweet. Good job, Mackenzie. Okay, so now it's my turn. I'm going to start with Asa. Gosh, Asa. What? Okay. Asa, when I think of you, a word that comes to mind is heart. If any of you who've ever met Asa, you don't even have to know him that well to know that his heart is about 40 times bigger than any other person's heart in the room. Like, seriously, Asa cares about people. He loves people. He's going to show that he loves people. I even love you. You're just a vulnerable person, and you'll show your heart to people, and that's amazing. And the fact that I even think about the fact that God can use you as a godly man that's going to influence other people, that it's okay to be emotional and vulnerable, I think that's amazing. You know, so many guys don't see that and don't really get to be a part of that, and you get to help other people be a part of that. Thank you. It's amazing. Another word I think of is just stepping out. That's not really a word, but it's a phrase, so give me a break. Stepping out. There's been several times. Even I even think about, guys, I'll tell you a little backstory behind Asa actually coming into the high school ministry. It went something like this. hey, Asa, do you want to come serve with the high school youth group? No. It was pretty much just, that sounds like something that would be fun for someone else, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Well, fast forward, you guys know how the story ended. I won. But Asa is now serving here, and that's just one example of how many times I've challenged Asa to just take steps and have some of those conversations and do some of those things that are uncomfortable. But he's modeled, you've modeled that so well, man, of just doing it, and the whole time maybe being scared and like, man, I don't want to do this, but you're going to do it anyways. And I appreciate that so much about you, man. You've done a great job. I've seen you grow so much this year. Well done finishing, even if you didn't want to at times. Good job. I appreciate you. Love you, bro. Kevin, gosh. Kevin, you've got like a little following here. I love it. Guys, if you've ever met Kevin, first of all, you should meet Kevin. He's a great dude. A word that comes to mind when I think of you, Kevin, is fighter. Fighter. Like, I really think that you are a warrior for Christ. Like, for reals, there's been times in our conversation, sometimes it's almost like, man, I'm getting a little bit, intense. I feel a little bit like he's going to just get up and attack something, because he's passionate and he's excited and he wants to do ministry. And if you guys have interacted with him, some of your small group probably understand that although he's probably one of the most chill dudes you'll ever meet, he's also one of those guys that's not going to stand for something that's wrong, and he's going to fight for what's right, and he's going to fight for the people that are his people. I love that about you, man. You've got your people, and you fight for them, and that's a seriously honorable thing that we don't see enough of in this world, but you get to be part of that and shine bright by being someone who fights well. Another word that comes to mind is just honesty. Man, you're just vulnerable. You'll say it how it is, sometimes to a point of like, dang, yeah, wow, that was really blunt. But I appreciate that about you, man. You're honest. You're real. You're not going to try and sugarcoat things if you don't need to. And so I really appreciate that about you, man. You're a champion. I love you. Sweet. Guys, give it up one more time for these three as they finish their first year. You guys go sit down. Thank you. A couple other things to mention, too, is we've got, I hope I don't forget anybody. We got a couple other people. Darren Brown, where is he at? He might not be here. Oh, he's not here. He's out of town. Darren is another guy. He's finished his first semester. So we have other people in the school ministry process that haven't finished their first year, but they're still here and they're serving. Bill Kraus Jr. He's another guy. He's in the school ministry. Love him to death, and they'll be up here in 6 months, hopefully, so we can celebrate them. But we've got a lot of people in school ministry. Definitely an awesome program. Super proud of you guys who have gone through it and finished it. And love you guys. So
yeah. Sweet. Thank you guys for celebrating our awesome school ministry students. It is, like we said, no small task. Just cool to journey alongside them. And I know a lot of you guys get to interact with them. So cool. We super love them. So now we're going to switch gears. We get to head into small groups, which is just so awesome after Gunners just his talk with us, just how important community is, and that really it's in your hands what you guys choose to do with it. So I love that we get to create an environment for you guys to give you some community to be with. And so we're going to head into small group time next. If you don't know where your small group is, or if you're new with us and don't know where to go, come up to the front, see Matt and I, and we'll get you plugged into where you do need to go. Thank you for being here. After small group, we're going to have some pancakes during late night,
pancakes,
which is exciting. And again, we do have youth group next Monday, even though it's Memorial Day. So stack your chairs 6 high, and let's head to small groups. I'm going to jump down there.